Hello and Borada to Club 100's race day coverage from round 5 of our heavyweight sprints championship from the picturesque and impressive Glan Y Gors karting facility in North Wales. Although the weather for late June is pretty poor, I have to confess it threatened rain all morning and it's carried out that threat this afternoon. But that's racing, as they say. We don't quit in Club 100, we just crack on. The class format is a 6-minute time practice and qualifying session, affording some familiarisation to the track. The top 20 qualifiers proceed to the first pre-A final. The remaining drivers line up in the pre-B final. From there, the top 4 will be promoted to the back of the A final, while the remainder get one last chance, or rather 2 remaining places, on the A final grid from finishing first or second in the B final. The fastest lap times in the pre-finals determine the grid for the main A finals, and the results from both pre-final and final count towards the championship. The best 16 results from the 11-round season determines the outright champion. We begin our coverage with the B final. 13 drivers here shooting for 2 qualifying spots. We're on board here with Pole Man Roger Davis. The pace car pulls off. On his outside is Paul Williams. Behind him on the second row is Alistair Mason in kart 44 and Paul Goddard in kart number 4. Through turn 1 cleanly. Davis has got the lead and is already pulling clear. On board here with James Browning. Was disappointing in the pre-B final. Fell off, I think, when he was in very good position to qualify. Goddard forcing it down the inside of Williams and Browning as well at the same time. And Williams loses out. And he might lose more positions down into the carousel. Williams in kart 27, down the inside is kart 31, Andrew Clark going through, and I think I saw Steve Townsend going round the outside. So a poor start for Paul Williams. Hopping over the curb, trying to pick up that position back from Clark. Was there a little bit of contact there? I'm not sure, but Clark's gone. Well, he's pretty sure there was contact from Williams there. So Andrew Clark pitched out of this B final early. Kart 54 trying to go down the inside. There was Pete Gillette. You get it done? I'm not sure. There's a penalty board there hanging out over start finish for kart 27. 73 goes round on his own. That's Graham Link. The penalty for kart 27 is Paul Williams. That must be for the contact with Andrew Clark. So we've lost already 3 potential qualifiers. It's Davis from Browning, clear of Mason. Kart number 4 is Goddard, under pressure and losing a spot to Steve Townsend on the curb. Williams running 5th on the road, but effectively excluded from this final. Oh, Goddard all crossed up. That's not going to close him back into Steve Townsend. This will be an 11-lap B final. Williams clipping the curbs there. That's not helping either. We saw in the elite class, you just have to bounce off the curb in the wrong way and you'll be spun out in these conditions. So behind Williams is Pete Gillette. We're already coming round to start lap 3 and Williams is spun off. An ignominious end to his B final. Not quite sure what's gone on there. So lap 3 of 11. You're riding on board with Browning, trying to close in to the lead. Indeed, he did take 0.6 of a second out of Roger Davis on that last lap. The pair are pulling clear of Alistair Mason, who's 4.2 seconds behind. But the track is in such a treacherous state that any mistake could easily be punished by going off the circuit, so everybody behind has got to keep on pushing hard. Steve Townsend up to 4th place, 5.3 seconds off the lead. Goddard falling away, 6.3 seconds away. But could easily come back and needs to keep pushing on. So Townsend, Goddard, Gillette. Gap then to Muscroft, 85. Nicholas Reynolds in kart number 8. Behind him, Ian Zumble. Roger Davis, your race leader. Will he take a look over his shoulder? Just a quick peek. As does Browning, almost by instinct. Spinning up the rear wheels up to Spoon Corner. Got to scrub off the speed if you mean to turn into Spoon. Just about gets it done. Can he run down Roger Davis as this pair are pulling clear at a fairly good rate of knots? They're 5 seconds clear now of Alistair Mason in third place, just coming through Carousel behind them. It appears the rain might have eased off a little, and there's still plenty of water on that camera lens. Unclear what the watch is on James's wrist, presumably some kind of lap timing device. Roger Davis sawing at the wheel. Browning is closing in. Another lap in the boots, and he took out another half second on Roger Davis, so it looks as though Browning is moving towards the lead. Oh, and you can see where he's gaining the ground rapidly going up the Spoon Corner. Little bit of contact with Davis, so it looks as though Browning's got plenty of pace to burn here. I would suggest it's only a matter of time before he moves for the lead. Behind, kart number 4, Paul Goddard. 54, Pete Gillette. Wilson going through the shot, followed by Townsend, Goddard, Gillette, John Muscroft. Making some progress in catching the drivers ahead of him. And we're already coming up on half distance. Lap 6 of 11. And it looks as though Davis has once again pulled out a little bit of time on James Browning. Took 0.3 of a second out of him on that last lap, but I think James has pulled it all back going into Spoon Corner. So it's pretty clear where James is strong and Roger Davis is not quite so. Down into Carousel. These two really should just declare peace and drive to the finish. They're now 7.3 seconds clear of Alistair Mason. So these will be your two qualifiers on pace at least. And they may catch up with back markers before the finish. I think I can see David Sterling in 13th place looming into shot, and Browning goes for the lead into Druids 1. Druids 2. Davis coming back at him. Pair need to be careful. Tangle in the wrong way at the wrong moment and the pair would be out, and that would put Mason through with Townsend. They seem to have settled now into a 1-2. Browning pulling clear. Should have taken a look over his shoulder. There he goes. Davis is happy to follow. You can see the water streaming off his visor. So Browning pulling clear, and I expect him to move on and win this one, just so long as he doesn't make a mistake and falls off like he did in the pre-B final. We're on lap 7 of 11. They continue to pull clear of Alistair Mason. Browning, the first problem he's had, and Sterling does the right thing and just waves him through into compression. Davis, I guess, will be looking to pass David, put a lap on him. On to the next lap, down in maybe turn 1, or on the Dragon Straight. He's caught up with him into Pit Bend. And he will go by over start finish. Goddard still under pressure from Gillette. And Pete's down the inside in the last corner. It's a sort of block pass. Fortunately, he doesn't run Paul out to the grass. And Goddard goes back through and hangs on to 5th place. But of course, that's just lost them even more ground on Steve Townsend in 4th. So So Davis now 2.2 seconds behind Browning. So it looks as though it's settled up front. It'll be Browning and Davis going through. Alistair Mason is now 8.2 seconds off the lead. But at least he's pegging Roger Davis at about 6 seconds. Steve Townsend is a further 4 seconds behind Mason in fourth. And it's Goddard, Gillette, 3 seconds back then to John Muscroft. Nicholas Reynolds, Ian Zumble, and Paul Williams 10th on the road, but probably lower than that with a penalty excluded, so that would be Graham Link in 10th. Andrew Clark now looming into sight of the leader, I think, to go a lap down, and then David Sterling, who's off the lead lap in 13th. Goddard trying to clear his visor there as they go down the Dragon Straight. Might open himself up to an attack here from Pete Gillett round the outside. Now can he get it hauled up and turned into Spoon? Goddard straight back at him, going to run him out wide. Doesn't want to give up 5th place. Mason's put a lap on David Sterling. Gillett looking to the inside. Manages to haul it up without taking out Paul. I can hear an engine in the background grind to a halt and stall. Somebody's gone off. Gillett looking to the inside into Druids 2, can't get it done. He's determined to find a way by. Now he tried a block pass down at the last corner on the previous lap. Goddard a bit crossed up mid-corner. This is the only fight going on in the circuit. Pete looks to the inside, can't get it done. Probably a mistake to look there. Better to try and draft past on the Dragon Straight. He tried to go round the outside on the last lap. Cuts to the inside this time. Puts his kart where Goddard's just got to give him room. Goddard holds on. So, as this pair, 23 seconds behind the leader, come down the hill, I think we should find the race leader James Browning down at the bottom of the circuit, about to start his final lap. And there we go, Browning onto his final lap, looking at Andrew Clark, who was taken out by Paul Williams and has just spun himself, trying to get out the way. That's the sort of unexpected obstacle that could have ruined James Browning's final. But it hasn't happened. He's got away with it. Browning is 2.4 seconds clear of Roger Davis. Alistair Mason is down in 3rd place. Here he is fighting with Paul Williams, who has been off again, I believe, and is now trying to get a lap back from Alistair. 4 or 5 corners from the finish for Roger Davis. This was settled early on, and it's going to finish the way that it's looked for a long time. James Browning into Druids 1. Roger Davis will qualify with him. He'll look a long way back for Alistair Mason. He's 12 seconds down in 3rd place. Just a couple of corners to go now. Your race leader and qualified at the back of the A final is James Browning, ahead of Roger Davis. Alistair Mason finishes in 3rd. Steve Townsend, Paul Goddard, Pete Gillett, John Muscroft, Nicholas Reynolds, Ian Zumble and Graham Link round out the top 10.